Our beef cattle industry is facing a crisis which has the potential to severely damage producers all over Australia. At the heart of the issue is the decision by Indonesia to drastically cut the number of live cattle imported from Australia. Here's a graph which illustrates how important the Indonesian live trade is to beef producers, especially across the north. Now, the background of that graph is that the total number of cattle exported last year exceeded 950,000, and of this number, more than 770,000 went to Indonesia. Joining me now from Canberra to talk through this issue is Cattle Council Executive Director David Innell. First up, I suggested that although this was a live export problem, it could have ramifications through the entire beef industry.
Certainly government and industry are working very closely together. A delegation went to Jakarta around about 2 weeks ago where they met with high levels of the Indonesian government. This is work in progress, certainly from our end. We're doing everything we can to get clarity on the issue. We're aware that the Indonesian government has an ambition to be self-sufficient in beef by 2014. We have sent breeding cattle to Indonesia for a long period of time, so we'd like to better understand and marry up how that might meet the Australian needs in terms of supplying cattle.
But under what's happening at present, around 300,000 Australian cattle will need to find new homes or a new destination. That's about right, isn't it?
Well, that's certainly the concern. That's the shortfall figures as we calculate them. We're already hearing of cattle in northern Australia moving to southern abattoirs, some being some considerable distance away. As we're aware, meat processing facilities in northern Australia have rationalised over the last decade or so. So there needs to be a home for those cattle, and we're looking everywhere we can.
But if processors, or beg your pardon, producers in the north send those cattle south, they'll take a huge hit. Most of them surely couldn't come south. And if they did, what sort of impact might they have on prices?
We have good access into America in terms of grinding beef, so that boxed market going in and supplying hamburger chains throughout the United States is certainly an important market, and that's where those animals could end up. But unfortunately, we just don't have the capacity in the north. But certainly in the next few weeks or months or so, we may well see some impact in terms of prices. At this stage, too early to tell.
Let's hope there's a resolution very soon. David Innell, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Kerry.
Oh, that's David Innell from Cattle Council. I also spoke with MLA, and they were much more upbeat about the possible impact on cattle prices if the Indonesian live trade is virtually cut in half, as the present plan indicates. We shall see. In the meantime, the live trade out of the north continued at its rather leisurely pace last week. Prices are okay, but there's no demand at all for cows. Of interest would be the 1,300 plus PTIC Brahman heifers, which went to Indonesia out of Darwin. I believe that's the first such shipment for many years. Now, the other big issue last week was the ongoing wheat saga, and as Pro Farmer newsletter suggested in its current edition, some sanity has prevailed and prices have retreated. Not a great deal, but enough to make the speculators very wary. In Chicago, wheat for September came back more than 70 cents a bushel. Locally, the ASX futures market was busy, but January wheat went up early and then faded to lose on the week, and the spot price also dropped. Unfortunately, time has caught up with us. The rest of the prices can be found on our website, abc.net.au/landline.